this thing on?
This rhetorical question is perhaps self-answering. A protest called Occupy Wall Street, trying to underscore and gum up the financial industry's influence on who's rich and who's not. Why wouldn't that get extensive news coverage?
The previous day, the crowds had gathered in front of the headquarters for the New York City Police Department, chanting, "We are 99%.
It started Saturday when about 1,000 people marched into New York's financial district to express their anger over how the financial system treats the majority of Americans, what they call the 99%ers, and to draw attention to the misdeeds of Wall Street. They have been confronted with an ever-increasing police presence, which is blocking certain streets and attempting to keep protesters away from the stock exchange itself. While the protesters are peaceful, tensions are beginning to rise. According to the group's own website, 7 protesters were arrested yesterday, with 4 more being arrested today. The police have resorted to using a 166-year-old law which bans the wearing of masks in a gathering of 2 or more people, except at masquerade parties.
Roseanne, my name is Luke Radowski of We Are Change.
Oh, cool, I love you.
Oh, you do? I love you too. Give me I love you too. Thank you so much. I follow you.
Cool.
Thank you so much. I love your work. I was wondering if you want to say something about the 10th anniversary just passing, and it just came out that a lot of the findings in the 9/11 Commission are actually being kept secret, and they were supposed to be released in 2009. I was wondering, do you have a comment on all the secrecy?
I do have a comment on all the secrecy, and here it is.
That's all you need.
We know.
This is not class warfare. It's man. The money's going to have to come from someplace. And if we're not willing to ask those who've done extraordinarily well to help America close the deficit, and we are trying to reach that same target of $4 trillion, then the logic, the math says everybody else has to do a whole lot more. We've got to put the entire burden on the middle class and the poor. We've got to scale back on the investments that have always helped our economy grow. We've got to settle for second-rate roads and second-rate bridges and second-rate.
Now everything I'm rhyming on calls a Ramadan, been a dime, praying for the families lost in the storm. Bring our troops back from Iraq, keep our troops out of Iran. So the next couple bars, I'ma drop them in Islam. They say assalamu alaikum, say wa alaikum assalam. That's no Oscar Mayer bacon, you should run and tell your mom. Now the question is how we gon' stop the next Vietnam. Keep flex out of Korea, cause you know we
roads and second-rate bridges and second-rate airports. And schools that are crumbling. That's unacceptable to me. That's unacceptable to the American people. And it will not happen on my watch. I will not support any plan that puts all the burden for closing our deficit on ordinary Americans. And I will veto any bill that changes benefits for those who rely on Medicare but does not raise serious revenues by asking the wealthiest Americans or biggest corporations to pay their fair share.
Pensions, right, are connected to the stock market. You know, their 401ks are connected to the stock market. Retirement plans are connected to the stock market. You know, these are people, when you go in and you see those commercials for like Morgan Stanley and stuff like that, and you want to get a portfolio and you want to set up something for your kids or something like that, or you want to invest in something, you're investing into the stock market. You know, when you get your portfolio back, you got a little share of McDonald's, a little share of Apple, a little share of this, a little share of that. And that's the majority of people. You know, that's not like some lunatic fringe, or that's not like some leftist or rightist conspiracy or nothing like that. For me is, I don't want to be in the streets fighting a civil war, running down the street with an AK-47 shooting at the National Guard.
Negativity is not the answer, and we can't be fighting our brothers and sisters.
So for me, it's like, let me support something peaceful like this, right? If you're gonna buy a Rolex, buy a Rolex. If you're gonna buy a Ferrari, buy a Ferrari. That's if you can afford it, then so be it. At the end of the day, you know, my situation is, I don't want. There's such a mass of people that are completely impoverished. There's a mass of people that are completely frustrated. There's a mass of people that are completely disillusioned. A mass of people that are completely uneducated about how that system works, about themselves. And it's going to reach a point, right? It's going to reach a breaking point. And when that breaking point happens, I don't want to be living in a bunker for 15 years, eating dry food and, you know, and shooting at people to keep them away from my house and shit like that. I don't want that. So while the opportunity is now, and we have things such as this, and we have things such as the internet, we can propagate the information, and I have my celebrity as a musician, I want to push that. You know, I want to push people to be educated and go out there and read this book and check this book out. Pedagogy of the Press, you'll get that, read that.
Here we have fantastic wealth, you know, and we have the technological possibility of making everybody on earth the enjoyer of an independent income. We can't do it because people say, where's the money going to come? Because they think money makes prosperity. It's the other way around. It's physical prosperity, which has money as a way of measuring it. But people think money has to come from somewhere, like hydroelectric power or lumber or iron, and it doesn't. Money is something we invent, like inches. So you remember the Great Depression, when there was a slump? And what did we have a slump of? Money. There was no less wealth, no less energy, no less raw materials than there were before, but it's like you came to work on building a house one day, and they said, sorry, you can't build this house today, no inches. What do you mean no inches? Just inches. We don't mean we got inches of lumber. Yes, we got inches of metal. We've even got tape measures. But there's a slump in inches as such, you see. And people are that crazy. They can have a depression because they've got no inches to go around, or no dollars. It's all a lot of nonsense. But you see, because we get thinking backwards, making the metaphysical tail wag the dog, making the law rule things, whereas it doesn't. It's merely a way of measuring what happens. And so you see, when you get into Buddhistic thought, you don't get that confusion. But we very easily compare our regulation measuring devices with what makes things happen, as if the sun rises because it's 6 in the morning. Now that's being completely backwards in one's thinking. And we get into the same confusion when we imagine, for example, that money is wealth.